welcome to Force Tech Talk. I actually think this is number 4, guys.
Yeah.
We're in April already. I can't believe where the last 3 months went. I hope you've been enjoying our podcasts and you've actually got a little bit of interest from them. We have had lots of questions that we will be I'll be putting to the panel on the next podcast. But for now, we've had an exciting couple of months. I'd like to welcome you to our long-term storage area. We're sitting in this area today because we've spent the last couple of months expanding our long-term storage facility. Now, for those of you who do know Force Technologies, we tend to think beyond what's the norm. We think outside of the box. So we've developed a program called Long-Term Storage and Assembly. We're very hot on sustainment, and a lot of the projects that we work with are legacy products that need to be in production for the next 5-10 years. But as we all know, those of us in the semiconductor industry know that parts are getting short and in short supply. So with AI and Microsoft building new servers, a lot of the products that we have to build and store for customers are going to be short supply over the next 10 years. So we've developed this program. Ben and his team have set up our new nitrogen area, and Charlotte's been busy talking to customers about what they need, haven't you, Charlotte?
Yeah. So obviously in sales, it's my job to go out and do the sales. And offering long-term storage as well as our solutions just gives us that bit of an extra edge, that bit of something extra to offer our customers. So instead of going to them and saying, hey, we have this solution, we can do it for this amount of time. Now I can go to them and say, we've got this solution and we can do it for this amount of time, and we can store all the base material and everything you need to last for this amount of additional years. I have a customer who recently placed a large order to have a solution on the books and to also store the base material that they need for that solution.
How many years are we going to be making that FT product now for?
That FT product, we've been making it so far for 13 years. They ordered enough for another 5 years. And then we can keep going beyond that. We have enough material. So,
And what material for that project are we storing? Is it just the die, or I know we're going to talk about the packaging problems in the next podcast, but it's packaging as well, isn't it?
yeah, so we obviously can store dye on its own if that's what the customer chooses to do. But I think packages, and Ben will speak about this as well, packages we really need to emphasize as well, because I think a lot of people don't realize packages go obsolete. So for this particular customer, it's all the dye that they need as well as the packages and the lids that they need.
Great, brilliant. And what about the your wonderful setup here, Ben? You and your engineers have been working really hard on this.
Yeah, so it's traditional nitrogen storage cabinet setup that follows leading industry guidelines like the J standard 033, which covers to ensure that the devices are held in a low humidity and stable temperature environment. And that really just ensures that all the products fit for use when you do decide to take it out and build from it in 10, 15 years or over the course of that time frame if the customer's taking drops over that time frame.
And we monitor it through a system. I see you can't see it on the camera here, but we've got a very big screen over there.
We do, yeah. I mean, in compliant with all of our AS 9100, we have to keep all of our records for, I believe it's 7 years.
Yeah.
And we extend that to all of our read and record data for our cabinets to show our customers that the product they've purchased is been staying in a stable condition during that period.
Yeah. I think it's clear to see that. I mean, there are other companies that I could mention in our industry that do long-term storage, but it's not just a long-term storage, is it? Because they do it better. They probably do it better than we do, and they've been doing it a lot longer. But it's the sustainability thing. It's you will get a product in 5 years' time, which is exactly the same as we built yesterday. That's key to customers, isn't it?
Yeah, it's key to customers to ensure that they're getting consistent product. It's dye or packages all from the same batch. It's not every few years they're having to get a variance in any kind of way that would affect the build. And like you say, there are other people in our industry that do storage. They do it incredibly well. But I think customers will come to us because it's not that we're storing it, and then they come to us and say, hey, we're going to take it out now and send it to this assembler. They're saying, hey, right now we need you to build it. We have the capability to assemble it and manufacture it. And I think that's where the long-term storage and assembly really comes into play for the customers.
I remember years ago going to see a customer in I won't mention the area, but one of the things he was worried about was moving stuff around. And he said, how do you control if you've got the product here and then you're going to move it there? And obviously with AS 9100, we do that. And your chaps down here know exactly how to transport stuff. But that means we don't have to transport it so much now, does it? We've cut down all that risk by keeping, because ships can get damaged, can't they, if you move
Yeah,
them
of
around
course.
the
I
subject?
mean, yeah, and when you're talking about the legacy dies that we're purchasing as part of last time buys in conjunction with the customer, you can be talking hundreds and hundreds of thousands of pounds, and you do not want to be shipping that around or moving it around too much, because every time you do touch it, it's a risk.
Yeah, which we don't want to take.
Definitely not.
The
No.
customer's end. So going back to the packaging issues, what are we seeing most of the packages that we're having a trouble with?
I mean, we'll talk about it more in depth in the next podcast. But yeah, really, it's the same legacy packages that all the product that was built in originally that has just now become obsolete. Originally made by either NTK or Kaisir, predominantly in the ceramic packages. And they just discontinue them when the volumes get too low and no one's ordering them, and to bring them back can be tens of thousands of dollars to bring the tooling back in for them. So it pays to make an investment in them, and get them stored from anywhere from specifically the windowed EPROMs.
I was going to say, do you remember when we bought all those glass windows? I remember Mike saying to me, "You are completely mad, Karen. There's no way that we should be buying 100,000 glass windows." And we actually are the only people in the world with those now.
Yes,
He's kind of laughing on the side of his face now. But at the time, he was absolutely horrified that I thought this glass was going to go obsolete. But we have them, and we use them all, and people still use them, don't they?
Yeah, it's a nightmare to recreate them, so it's better to have them, in stock if possible. That's for sure.
Yeah, with the Fritz seal and stuff like that. And what about other things like that went in allocation is the epoxy and some of the chemicals as well. Do you remember?
Yeah, I mean they've obviously got shelf lives as well, which is obviously a consideration. But yeah, certainly for allocation, we saw some material shortages that you just wouldn't expect to be a problem. So yeah, ensuring that we've got ample stocks of those as well. Just make sure that we've got a good smooth supply chain going forwards.
Yeah, and again, you can't see on the camera, but we have another area around the back, and maybe we have another podcast we'll show you around the back. But that's where we keep all the non-dye and the non-packages. Like Ben says, some of the product that went allocation, the glues and the chemicals, we keep those at the back. So we're always ready to make something for somebody, aren't we?
Yeah, I think it's just being very mindful about and being aware of what's happening in the industry and what's going to be going on, shortages, and trying to respond accordingly. But it is difficult to make customers make those decisions, and it's a lot of investment. So
I think it's also being aware of what's going on in the industry definitely helps, but I think it's also talking to the customers and getting them to think of the product as a whole, trying to get them to think of everything you will need to get you this product when you need it. So yes, the dye is a massive one. That's what people often focus on, but it is all the other components that help us make the product for them. That's what we have to think about. So really thinking of the product as a whole is massive.
And what about the when you ask the customers about investment, Charlotte? Because I know we have to sometimes buy a whole wafer, not just 100 pieces. And being in the aerospace business, it is 100 now, and it's 100 next month, and maybe 100 in in September. But what are they saying about investment? Are they opening up a little bit more?
I think they're definitely opening up, and I think it's something we can talk about in the assembly podcast. But I think there's a shift going towards an emphasis on investment in the materials that they're going to need. It's definitely a shift that I see. But we can talk about that on the next one.
So that's the long-term storage and assembly project that we've just launched. If anybody'd like to know any more about it, or even come and visit, please get in touch with us at all the usual emails and phone numbers. And we'll see you next month for Tech Talk number 5.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.